All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern on the GSMC Sports Network, here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling. So make sure you tune in. It's pretty awesome. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We had our NXT preview. We also had Charlotte Flair's, plan WWE's plan for Charlotte Flair amid her return. We also talked about Monday Night Raw going to a 2-hour show, how, it's going to hurt a lot of superstars. For me, I can only see the negativity out of it as of right now. The only positive thing from it would be Triple H's philosophy on, quality over quantity, which, kind of rubs me the wrong way. But, we'll find out. We'll find out October 7th. So, all right. So now we're going to talk about our fifth and final segment, Tuesdays Today in Wrestling History. Excuse me, gonna go back in time. I'm gonna gun it to 88 miles per hour. And where we're going, guys, we don't need no roads. All right, so we are here in 2001. 2001 on WWE Monday Night Raw's War, the WWE champion Stone Cold Steve Austin rallied the Alliance together to take out his frustrations on Kurt Angle by putting the Olympic gold medalist in a hardcore match against, Rob Van Dam. In the main event, you saw Test going, Test teaming up with Stephanie McMahon, McMahon Helmsley, to take on the WCW champion, The Rock, in a handicap match. When Stone Cold Steve Austin started the alliance, and like when everybody was so heartbroken, everybody saw him as this cold-hearted WWE veteran, and kind of jumping ship a little bit. It was for the best. I believe 1,010% it was for the best. Kurt Angle, when he was young, he kind of needed the push, and kind of as soon as Stone Cold Steve Austin had a chance to work with Kurt, they made magic. They made magic between the promos together. Even after that, it was just great. It was just great. It was both beneficial for both of these superstars. That's really much I have to say about these two superstars. Obviously both icons in terms of professional wrestling. And I wouldn't, to be honest, I don't think Kurt Angle would be where he is right now if he didn't really assume the role of not the leader of Team WWF against the Alliance. But if Stone Cold Steve Austin would have never kind of, shifted gears and be like, look, let's let somebody else be the captain. Let's let spotlight, let's give the spotlight to somebody else like Kurt. And, let's promote some of our younger superstars. And Kurt Angle, he became a big deal in WWE. One of the best wrestlers from like my tenure as a wrestling fan, definitely from 2005 to 2000 and 2007. No, 2000. I think, yeah, 2007 or 2008, where, he was just so dominant. He was kind of like the John Cena, where, he would never lose. Of course, he would never lose. He was the best wrestler, and he was able to, get under your skin and piss you off. So overall, I think Kurt Angle, of course, left the TNA after that. But I don't know. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Kind of, kind of historic. Oh, plus, a little note. This was actually the last Monday Night Raw before before the 9/11 terrorist attacks took place the next day. The title of the show changed from Monday Night Raw's War to just Raw. They didn't really mention the war and admit the war in Afghanistan, and everything that happened, and with the 9/11 attacks and stuff like that. It was sad. I remember when it happened. Man, it was definitely a day that will forever live in infamy, kind of like Pearl Harbor and stuff like that. So, definitely, kind of crazy, still kind of feeling it to this day. It's kind of crazy. All right, next in 2005, Wrestling Reunion 3 took place in Florida, featured matches with legends such as the Warlord, Kamala, the Blue Meanie, Jake the Snake Roberts in the main event. Of course, it also featured Greg Valentine. Who is that? Tito Santana? I don't know why I want to see Santino Morella. That's crazy. Tully Blanchard also. Dusty Rhodes fought Terry Funk in the main event in a no contest in a regular wrestling match that was refereed by who other than a hardcore legend, Mick Foley. So I definitely think that's cool. Definitely, taking a step back into wrestling, kind of looking at some of these, legends who's kind of took off in the wrestling world. A lot of people look up to these guys. I remember the Blue Meanie. I remember I used to play WWE WrestleMania 2000 with my brothers, and I was like, "Who the hell is this guy?" Like, I was like, "Dude, I don't remember seeing this guy." But I think he was part of the Nasty Boys. I think he was. Don't quote me on that. But I don't know. It was kind of cool. The BWO. It's just classic. It's so funny, so funny. In 2007, on the go home edition of WWE Raw before Unforgiven, Vince McMahon found out the identity of his illegitimate son. Oh my God, that was a bad storyline. That's so. Oh. WWE Champion John Cena provoked by Randy Orton ahead of their upcoming pay per view WWE title rematch. You saw Triple H take on Shelton Benjamin in an Intercontinental Championship match. And Jeff Hardy was forced to take SmackDown's World Heavyweight Champion, take on SmackDown's World Heavyweight Champion, the Great Khali, which, the Great Khali during my time as a wrestling fan, he recently actually did have a birthday a couple Tuesdays ago, and kind of crazy, kind of funny. And then just like this whole illegitimate son thing was so funny. It was so funny, but at the same time, I remember watching this episode and I was like, dude, it's kind of stupid. This little leprechaun guy, who followed Fit Finley around. He was, they called him the little the little B word, and Hornswoggle. Man, like it's crazy. It's crazy. He did have a short stint in WWE after that, but overall, Vince McMahon, some of the storylines that he let cross paths and let air, gotta be honest, wasn't the best. But this was definitely one of them. But it was funny. It was indeed funny. His illegitimate son was Hornswoggle. Illegitimate storyline, obviously playing kayfabe here. But no, it's kind of crazy, kind of crazy. All right, so next we go to 2012. 2012, after teaming up with Randy Orton to face CM Punk and Dolph Ziggler on Monday Night Raw, Jerry Lawler suffered a heart attack live on commentary. Lawler's life was saved by CPR from WWE's Dr. Sampson. Thank God that guy was there. Like, that's unbelievable. Like, right now, Jerry the King Lawler still kicking it to this day. He's still, you see him on WWE live pre-shows. Occasionally he does, announce a couple of matches. I want to see one last match. I want to see Jerry Lawler commentate with good old Jim Ross, one final match before anything happens to these lovely gentlemen. I grew up watching these guys. Monday Night Raw, it was these guys. It was these guys. On SmackDown, you had Taz and Michael Cole, or JBL and Michael Cole. These guys were just money together. It was great. It was great. And the whole, live on TV, one of those things, unfortunate, does happen. You know, health problems. Also, once when the stint happened with Owen Hart, where he tragically fell from his death from the rafters. It was Jerry Lawler there as well. To kind of be like, look, like this isn't part of the storyline. He's dead. Like it's just crazy. It's like a sense of realisness in terms of professional wrestling. And Jerry Lawler, he had a heart attack on live air. That's it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. I obviously, thank God he's better. He's living a good life. Hopefully, obviously. In 2012, WWE Hall of Famer Bret Hart conducted a head-to-head interview between him and CM Punk and John Cena on the go-home edition of Monday Night Raw from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, for Clash of Champions. Later on in the show, Punk faced an opponent by WWE audience choosing for the very first time. Bret Hart appeared at WWE event in Montreal since the infamous Montreal Screwjob at Survivor Series in 1997. Obviously, this was bad. This was the beginning of the Montreal Screwjob was bad. And then Bret Hart came back, and like he said in a couple of interviews, talking about Vince McMahon, like he came back, he wanted to bury the hatchet. Fortunately, Vince is still Vince. At the end of the day, Bret Hart never really found peace in WWE. Of course, like he did with Shawn. I feel like him and Shawn did bury the hatchet. He does still have some remarks toward, Triple H Polivek. He said couple of months ago, I think it was, in an interview that Triple H doesn't deserve to be in the position he's at. He only got it because he was basically, with the boss's daughter. And if he was still in WWE, and if he would have never gotten screwed by Vince McMahon with that, that contract that he was basically said yes to, and then Vince McMahon pulled out at the last minute, causing Bret to go to WCW. I think Bret Hart would have had an amazing career in WWE. Definitely would be one of the most honorable champions. Maybe he would be the longest, the most title holders, and maybe 16, 17, 18 time champion. I believe that in my heart, 1,010%. Was forced to leave the WCW, based on a rash decision. Turned out to be terrible. He wrestled with people who were very undertrained, like Bill Goldberg, who costed him his career. And I don't think he shifts the blame to Vince McMahon, but you can see, like Bret Hart, I would have never been put in this position if I would have never been screwed by Vince McMahon. If he would have, honored his word, honored the contract, and it's kind of crazy. It's crazy how it all kind of went down. Bret Hart, you seen him on WWE Monday Night Raw yesterday, which is kind of crazy how we're talking about it tonight. Um, he did. I feel like he has buried the hatchet with Triple H as well, because I've watched in an interview Triple H's feelings toward Bret Hart, saying that he was very unprofessional. Vince McMahon has never let anybody leave the WWE holding a title. Bret didn't want to do Vince. Bret wanted to do what was best for Bret and what wasn't best for the company. And obviously that is a hell of a thing to say. Of course, when you eventually become the son-in-law, you know what I mean? But I feel like it is kind of buried. So I feel like Bret Hart will be featured in WWE more. I would honestly sign him to a Legends contract. I would. I'd put him backstage to see what he can do in terms of creative. You're definitely going to need a pair of fresh eyes going into Netflix. You're going to need a pair of fresh eyes kind of condensing this show into 2 hours. So 1,010%, I feel like bringing the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be back to WWE would be great. I feel like it'd be great. All right, guys. So, hey, that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Thank you so much. Remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network, follow us on Twitter/X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for more content and updates. And like I always say, if I have not made you a wrestling fan by now, we got basketball with my boy Nelson. We also got two football shows. We got the Chip Shot Football Podcast with Manny and the GSMC Football Podcast with my boy Kenneth. We got fantasy sports, GSMC Fantasy Sports Podcast with Chris Shepard. Find out your stardoms, your sitters, your stardoms, your sitters. Did I say no? I didn't say it. I didn't say it. All that. Find out who to pick up from the waiver wire. You know what I mean? Find out who to drop. A couple of injuries, you know what I mean? You don't know what's going to happen. I honestly didn't think, I thought Christian McCaffrey was going to play yesterday. Luckily, I wasn't the one who drafted him. I was going to, though. I had the second pick, too. And I was going to, but instead, I picked up Amon-Ra St. Brown, who on Sunday night screwed me over. Oh, God. Fantasy? Oh, man. Find out all your information from Chris Shepard. Definitely got to, tune into that show more often than not. So yeah, we also got Tommy with the GSMC College Football Podcast. Definitely a lot of action-packed Saturdays from the Pac-12 to the big. Oh my God, I did see I'm not that prestige on college football talk just yet. Got to be honest, a couple of of our production meetings, we've been talking about college football, and I kind of pay more attention because I'm like, you know what? I want to be a college football fan. Obviously, with with my career, you kind of have to know a lot of the aspects in sports. I usually focus on the big three: NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL, and of course, I wet my beak a little bit on wrestling. Well, wrestling's kind of like my side hustle. It's kind of like my side girl. I'm just kidding, no. Anyways, actually, you know what? It's to the point where I watch so much damn wrestling that I feel like NFL has shifted to my side girl. I did off, gone and married my side girl. I'm just kidding. All right, moving on with the metaphors. So yeah, make sure you tune into all those podcasts. We have the Sports by GSMC with Jeremy. We got the GSMC Sports Podcast with TJ, and all these guys are amazing. I watch these guys. I learn from these guys. They're definitely going to be stars one day. outside of the GSMC Sports Network. Although, being here, under this platform, 1,010%. It's great. It's great. Ran by a lot of, some really nice people. 1,010% wholesome. Make sure you subscribe. Like I said, give you the Eric Rodriguez guarantee that the GSMC Sports Network we care about. They care about the podcasters. We care about our fans. Just want to be one big happy family. Be a part of this new GSMC Wrestling Laureate bloodline family that we can talk about wrestling Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern on the GSMC Sports Network. So, just do it. Make it like Nike and just do it. All right, guys. So, hey, that's it for me. Stay beautiful. Have a safe, amazing Tuesday night. But most importantly, love you.